What up, you fluffy bastards? My name is Liquid Blitz, and today we're going to take a look, and I'm going to give you some tips for the new Dogfighter Fighter-Plane. I hate saying the Dogfighter Fighter-Plane. There should only be one fighter. Oh, and by new, obviously I don't mean that the plane is new. There's always been a Dogfighter. It's just in the last update there was some huge-ass changes to the Dogfighter version of the fighter plane. And these changes literally just dropped in the May update. Let's start off by just summarising immediately. The Dogfighter has just been super buffed. It has been buffed more than the Queen of England's shoes. Oh, by the way, the gameplay in the background for this entire video is all gameplay of the new version of the Dogfighter. So it's all new footage. I'm going to come right out and say it. I love this plane. It's now my favourite plane variant in the entire game. The recent super nerfs of the trench fighter plane and all the changes with the AA cannon made me seriously question whether or not it was worth sort of continuing playing planes at all. For me, of course, I don't play attack planes much at all, and I never play in a bomber, so I'm strictly a fighter plane person. So after the trench fighter was sort of nerfed that as much as it was, I was like, meh. Yes, I admit the trench fighter used to be just too powerful, but they nerfed the living shit out of it. And going back to the Dogfighter, I never liked how the Dogfighter always just seemed to me, it just seemed like it was weak as balls, especially when you're facing an enemy bomber, especially if there was a gunner in that, like somebody on the rear gun in that bomber, especially when it was the pilot seat switching to the rear gun. Good Jesus. I hate seat switching. It shouldn't be a thing. I wish they would do in Battlefield 1 what they did. I think it was in Battlefield 3, or was it 4, where they made it so that if you seat switched out of the pilot seat, the chopper, or plane or whatever, would just veer off target and, like, crash. Do you see what I mean? But that doesn't happen in Battlefield 1. Seat switching is total bollocks. Anyway, let's move on. In the May update, and here's the big thing, here's the bombshell. In the May update, they added incendiary ammo as a secondary weapon to the Dogfighter. This secondary weapon, or secondary ammo, however you want to think of it, it does increased damage to enemy planes more than the usual ammo. The great thing is, this secondary incendiary ammo, it counts as a separate weapon. It has a separate clip, or magazine, whatever you want to call it. It reloads, whereas the main gun, it simply overheats. It has infinite ammo. It doesn't reload, it overheats after firing 6 seconds consecutively. So you have 6 seconds of continuous firing in weapon slot 1, and now you have 15 rounds of incendiary ammo in slot 2. Yes, 15 is quite small, but it is a very powerful ammo, so they can't just give it an enormous clip size. And 15, it runs out like that before you've got to reload, so you've got to choose your moments when you use it well. But to be honest, shit, it does big damage, man. Anyway, keep in mind that because the main gun and the incendiary ammo are separate, and because you can switch between the weapon slots instantly, this means that now you have a much longer or larger uptime for shooting. Do you see what I'm saying? You can shoot for much longer than you could before. So you're going to be spending a larger percentage of your time shooting before you have to sort of reload or before it overheats. Do you see what I'm saying? And more shooting is only a good thing. Because you now have an alternate weapon, if you want to think of it as an alternate weapon, you can fire your main gun until it's overheated, then you can switch to your fire ammo, and then just use all your fire ammo, and then you can switch back to the main gun again. Like I said, much more shooting time overall. That being said, and this is important, I don't suggest you actually do that. I don't suggest you use your main gun until it overheats and then switch to your incendiary ammo. I suggest you actually open combat with your incendiary ammo in the first place. So when you spot an enemy plane, get your incendiary ammo ready to fire. The reason I suggest this is because it does so much more damage to enemy planes than the main gun. If you start shooting with the fire ammo in the first place, you can do much more damage to them before they start trying to evade you, before they even know what's happening. In other words, starting with the fire ammo gives you like a head start on damage. So use your fire ammo first. Do it! Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, the reload time for the incendiary ammo clip is 8 seconds. At least I think it's 8 seconds. I literally had to time it myself for this video. It was either 7 or 8 seconds, but I'm pretty damn sure it's 8. And 8 seconds really isn't that long for extra high damage fire ammo, let's be honest. Anyway, moving on. The second big change they made is they switched out the emergency repair, which is in weapon slot 3. They switched that out for the speed boost. And actually, the Bomber Killer version of the fighter plane had the speed boost. That now has the emergency repair. So the Bomber Killer and the Dogfighter, they've switched the gadgets around. So the Dogfighter now has a speed boost instead. In my opinion, the speed boost is much more useful for dogfighting. There's nothing worse than being caught in like a death spiral battle and feeling like you're losing ground and it takes ages. Now, if you feel like you're losing ground, just pop your speed boost and gain the upper hand. Also, a little bit of extra information. Whichever version of the attack plane has the speed boost, I think it's the airship buster. When you pop the speed boost on the attack plane, that's now faster at turning than the fighter plane, which is just mind-blowing in my opinion. But even so, the Dogfighter with a speed boost is still the fastest turning plane in the game. Previously, all the planes that had a speed boost, the speed boost was always had a 30-second recharge time, but they've reduced that to 15 seconds now. So 15 seconds recharge for the Dogfighter. It's a nice, quick recharge time, but it can feel like a long time when you're in the middle of a dogfight. 15 seconds feels like forever. So when you're in a death spiral battle with another plane, make sure you sort of use it at the best moments, the most opportune moments. So basically, only use it when you feel like you sort of need it, you know, to avoid death or to generally get the upper hand in a dogfight. The addition of Incendiary Ammo and switching the emergency repair for a speed boost, there are only 2 changes, but Jesus, they are 2 big-ass changes. They really are. You know, I'm going to take this opportunity to give you a plane tip, which I previously gave in my 10 tips to help you in Battlefield video. I think that was my previous Battlefield 1 video a few days ago. But I'm going to give it in this video because it's very relevant. This tip will seriously help you turn faster in dogfights. It will help you turn faster than enemy planes, unless they're doing the same thing. This tip is go into your settings, go into your keybinds, go into the plane key bindings and bind pitch down to your spacebar if you're on PC, or like an easy to press button if you're using a controller. But if you have your flight inverted naturally, inverted or is it not inverted? Whichever, if it's the opposite, then bind pitch up to spacebar or a button. Basically, whichever, pitch down or up, whichever makes your plane go upwards. Do you see what I'm saying? The reason I suggest you bind your spacebar or a button to moving your plane upwards is so when you are dogfighting with an enemy plane, you can keep turning at the plane's maximum turn rate 100% of the time. And you do this by simply pressing a button, rather than, if you're on PC for example, moving your mouse, because that's how you do it on PC, you move your mouse to pitch your plane. So instead of dragging your mouse or pushing your analog stick up, it's easier, it's less effort to just press a button and have your turn speed at 100% indefinitely. Because think about it, especially on PC, if you're moving your mouse to move your plane upwards, so you're going in circles, at some point you're going to have to reset the position of your mouse on your mouse pad, and in that couple of seconds you can lose some ground. I really can't stress how good a tip that actually is. You need to make sure you do that, because pressing a button to keep turning 100% is a great tip. It really is. Anyway, moving on. The last thing I'm going to mention in this video is actually another great addition in the recent May update. And this change seriously helps your threat awareness, especially behind you. Since the update, now, when you're in a plane, if you're in third person, you can now look behind you by pressing your free look key. You know, free look as in you can look around freely. I have that bound to my left Alt key on my keyboard. So now the way free look works is if you're in first person and you hold the free look key and move your aim around, it moves your head and your vision around and it doesn't move the plane. That's what free look is, obviously. But now also, when you're in third person and use it, it acts as a rear view mirror and it just literally shows you behind, like in any sort of racing game or whatever. It shows you what's behind you. And that is seriously useful. With one quick press, you can see if there's an enemy plane anywhere behind you. Not just like immediately behind you, but you can see you can see everything behind you. So for the love of God, make sure you bind free look to an easy to press button. Make sure it's not out of the way. Like, as I say, on PC, I've bound mine to left Alt because it's right beneath WASD, so it's easy to press. So make sure you do that. Do it! Anyway, that's all I have for you. I've given you a couple of tips and I've brought you all the information and facts. That's what I aim to do. So I advise you now leave YouTube, launch the game, and play in this plane. Try it. Do it right now. Do it! Like this video if you liked it, like this video if you didn't like it, and join me in my next video. My next video will either be the next superclass, which I already have in mind. I've actually already set it up, and I've actually recorded some gameplay for it already. So that next superclass is a certain guarantee at some point. Or it will be another planned video that I've got, which is about a short history of women in World War I. Because just in case you didn't know, female soldiers are coming to Battlefield 1 in the second DLC, the Russian DLC. And I just thought it would be nice for people to know the real history behind the women fighting in World War I. I love me some history. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye-bye! Bye!